So both sides of the table. We're going to talk about partnerships and what's important in partnerships and what both sides need to bring to the table in order for a partnership to work. To do so, I'm going to have George and Arnold introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you guys have worked on and how you've worked together.
So my name is George Lemnaru. I started my first project back in 2003. I can say that right now I'm the CEO and the founder of Greenhorse Games, a social gaming company. And I got, it's the first time when I got investment. It's the second time since then I got investment. Um, Basically that's.
I'm Malin. I started to do business back in 2000. I have now a software company, and I'm a partner in different other companies. I started to look for angel investments, so to invest as an angel, a couple of years ago. Actually, my first investment was George.
And so how did you guys end up working together? How did you meet each other, and what was your first introduction to working together?
We have a common friend who helped us to meet. And then we've seen each other several times for about 6 months.
Yeah, I was at that moment I was preparing the ground to start getting an investment. So I was starting to meet people, and I got this common friend who I spoke with him. He's he's really he knows very well the ecosystem and the investment, how these things goes, and then knowing Malin that he was also looking to invest, he present to each other, and then.
So what were you looking for in an investment, and what did Malin bring to the table for you?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. When you were looking for investors, what were you looking for? Money? Were you looking for experience? Were you looking for, guidance? And what was Malin able to bring to the table that made him an attractive investor for you?
It's I mean, in our case, we've been from the social gaming industry, which is quite new in Romania. I mean, the previous company that I started is called eRepublic, and was the first one. And then after that, some great people appear from that company that build their own successful companies. So basically, I knew the industry. It was quite difficult for me to find people in Romania, especially investors that would know the industry. And in my case, what I was looking for was an investor that had two things. First of all, the money to invest, and second of all, having some common values.
How important was it for it to be a Romanian investor for you?
I think I would say quite non-important. I mean, it could be Romanian, it could have been from whatever other country. So no, it wasn't a problem for me, this one. It's just I'm talking about Romanian investors because at that time it was I didn't have the let's say the money and the time to go and attend conference and meet other people outside Romania. So I was focusing especially on how to web or conference around the area.
And what did Malin bring to you that, as far as that expertise that you were looking for, what was he able to bring that made him a great investor for you?
As I told you, first of all, we shared common values, and this is something very important. This is something that I wanted to you found out in time. And one important thing that I did before agreeing to the deal, we had so-called board meetings, monthly board meetings, in which basically it was like we would be like, you already invested, I'm the CEO, and this will be our life for the most. So basically, it's just before marrying we.
You dated for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
He was testing me for a while.
And it works both ways because it's not a one night stand. I mean, you get with that person, even as an investor, as an entrepreneur, you get it's a long-term relationship, and you'll be there in good and bad times, and you want to see how you want to test. You know, I'm coming from a freemium industry, an industry that is focusing a lot on the freemium idea. You want to test a little before committing yourself, and this is something that I recommend to everybody.
And what made his company and this entrepreneur interesting to you, and what made you decide to do an investment?
Well, from my point of view, the most interesting part was the team, so himself, first of all, and the other guy, the other founder. And this proved actually to be correct later on. The product was important because they were doing something together, and they were building a product in the end. And the next thing which was interesting was actually the first time we met, he said he wants to build the next 50 million company.
And that impressed you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to have a piece of that.
And when you were dating, what did you see that you liked, and what were some of the things that you said, maybe not?
Well, first of all, the expertise, the fact that he knew about the industry and the way how to build a game and so on. A social game has some specific characteristics. Then I was looking for, and I found determination. I like insistent people. And yeah, the ability to fight for whatever he wanted to have.
And did you negotiate, this is for either one of you, did you negotiate the term sheet before or after you dated?
We negotiated the term sheet before, but actually we had some, I mean, we didn't negotiate, by example, valuation or investment, as far as I remember.
Sorry to complete you. We had some common, I mean, the big ideas of maybe the most important numbers and parts of the deal were more or less set up, understood, and once we dated and once we entered, we realized more and more that we're made for each other. We started entering into details and set up the entire deal, which is quite complex thing.
How hands-on involved are you in the company?
How what?
Hands-on involved. How much are you involved in the company?
Not too much. I mean, I'm not operationally involved in any way. I'm not. I mean, I help anytime, every time I ask for help.
What does that mean?
I mean, if he calls me and he asks for an advice, I'll give him an advice. But otherwise, I'm not in a day-to-day operation involved.
What about reporting? Do you get regular reports? Did you develop a reporting structure while you were dating? How does that work for you?
Yes, we had reports, and but I mean, not very official. It's not like in a corporation or stuff, but we had some sort of reports, yes, of course.
What were the KPIs that were important to you then? What were you looking for? What information did you want to see?
Basically, we wanted to go on the normal way for a startup, so we were envisioning some VC investment at a later stage. So we're looking for DAU, by example, daily active users, more than for revenues. I mean, revenues were not important, by example.
Yeah, concerning reporting, I think the best, at least in our stage for us, I consider to be like a 1 month reporting, like let's say so-called board meeting, and this is something that I also felt helpful. So from the start, I consider that a meeting once a month, in which I present the results, the KPIs of the company, and then also the main strategies, the main things that we'll focus on in terms of strategic focus.
And did you have other investors or just a sole investor?
Malin was the only angel investor in the company, and he's the only angel investor.
Yeah, about this reporting stuff, from the beginning we were actually thinking about the way it should be once there is some other investor, okay? So that's why, by example, we decided to have a board, even though we were in the board, we were the two of us and an independent guy, okay? So basically to practice whatever will happen later on. And we try to do that in all respects, more or less.
So you were setting up the discipline and the infrastructure so that as you grew, that would already be in place versus trying to fix it later, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He was the only angel investor, but you had other money, or
I had my own savings
okay.
that I invested, and then was the angel investment, and um, currently we're in process of getting a VC investment.
Okay. And tell us a little bit of moving from having your single angel investor to moving to more investors and a VC, which is going to change the dynamics to some degree, change the board. How is that transition working, and what are your expectations?
It should be smooth. We are
It should
practicing
be,
that
but
since-
yeah.
Yeah, we do that already since we started, actually. So it shouldn't be a serious problem. Of course, we did it probably more informally than we are going to do it once we have the investment, but otherwise,
But the composition of the board will change, obviously, right?
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But the structure was built so that this transition to go very smooth. And this happened also in my previous company, so I know the challenges. But I also know that also in terms of also with the VC investment, yeah, we're talking at a different level, but we're still talking about people. And as long, I mean, and you need to have common values.
Did you have an angel investor in your previous company?
Yes.
But not him, right? Somebody different or the same person?
Different person.
And what in your experience has been different between those two parties?
It was quite difficult, especially quite different, especially because at that moment I didn't have the experience. I didn't know what a startup, building a startup was. So it was quite different.
And have you done other investments and other angel investments?
Previously, no. Currently, I'm on the way to have a second investment.
And what is the experience that you've gotten out of this deal? You know, how does that change the way you're looking at the next deal?
Well, I had a lot of things to learn. So I'm smarter now than I used to be 2 years ago.
Are you looking for anything different in the new company that as a result of that experience?
We are very close to sign the deal. So, and the company is totally different, yeah.
And will you have this? Are you the sole investor again, or is this a syndication?
No, this time is a syndication. We are 3 angels going to invest.
Are you the lead? Or
Yes.
Okay. So you'll take the active role as far as the governance of the company?
Yeah, I'll be in the board.
Okay. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur that was looking to work with an angel? What characteristics would you tell them an angel should have in order to, consider them?
It's very important to know from the start what are the goals of that angel. Of course, when you're talking about angel and VC investment, the main goal of any investor is return of revenue as higher as possible. But there are also other different things around this. How fast do you want to reach that goal? Also important, how much involvement do you want to how much you want to involve in the decision process of the company, which is again very important. I mean, it's very easy to go from one extreme to another. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I saw many cases when entrepreneurs started from a very, let's say, low, from a mindset that I'm a beginner, the guy knows better, and difficult decisions should be taken by the investor. And this is very tricky because at the end of the day, as entrepreneur, as the CEO of the company, you have to be responsible of those decisions. You have to be able to take those decisions and be responsible of them. It's not like okay, that was this guy's decision. the investor decision, and I had to do it. So it's very important, this commitment. It's very important to take responsibility as an entrepreneur. On the other extreme, you might get into a mindset that I know all and don't hear anything. And I always try to be at close to an equilibrium, so that I always took the decisions, and were some decisions very difficult, were some decisions in which Malin maybe had a different point of view. But on the other hand, I always listened. So I always listened, analyzed, and then took the decision that I consider that was the best. Because at the end of the day, the excuse that I didn't believe in it, that it wasn't my decision, it doesn't help you at all. In the end, you're responsible as the CEO of the company.
And what kind of advice then would you offer someone who is, looking to raise their first round of angel money? What would you tell them to focus on? What would you tell them to, look for in an investor?
The first advice is to start talking with people as early as possible. Start meeting people. Don't let it. Don't start looking for investment when you desperately need it, because relationships and trust are built in time. And once you meet somebody for more times, you realize you'll know better what this guy or the other guy really wants, and even more really needs. So start as early as possible, meet people, meet entrepreneurs that have this kind of experience, and meet investors that can help you with advice at least.
And how long did you guys date before it became official?
We met in October. I forgot. Yeah, we met in October. We were pretty sure in February, March about the main ideas of the deal, and we had the everything signed and the money in the bank at the end of May.
Okay.
So it's like 7 months.
7 months. Okay, so that was a pretty fair amount of time to get to know each other, and if someone was going to change their mind.
The only fault was with the lawyers.
Blaming the lawyers.
You can always blame them, right?
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to a first-time angel in looking at new companies and portfolios?
It's difficult to give advice to angels. Yeah, so in my opinion, okay. As I said, the team is very important. It's quite often that you will face tough decisions, and I fully agree with George that the CEO has to be empowered and has to take decisions. It's his company, and you as an angel are you're just a minority shareholder, and you should be a minority shareholder, and he should run his business. He should take decisions for his business and so on. So for having a guy able to do that, you have to look for it. So that's one side. So you always have to keep in mind that things may change in terms of product and so on. Then you need somebody that is seeing a large picture. He's not looking for some small family business or something. I mean, when I hear, by example, startups that are offering dividends, we stop talking, and so on. So basically, the first thing would be team. Second, plans and product.
So our previous speakers, the first speaker focused on market size, and then the second speaker focused on technology. How important are those two elements to you?
Yeah, very important. I mean, market size is very important. In my opinion, technology is not this important if you have the right team.
So when you say market size is important, do they need to have a European focus? Do they need to have a global focus? What is something, or does the particular size of the individual market become a factor? What does someone need to tell you to start generating your interest?
Well, it depends on the size of if the size of the market is big enough, let's say above 1 billion, then I don't mind if it's in Romania.
But is the billion sort of your threshold? Do you have a threshold where like it needs to be a certain size?
No.
What would you? This is the difficult question. What would you have done differently in this partnership?
Yeah, that's a good question. And mm, basically, what I'm trying to apply, I really believe in lean development. So I'm trying I'm trying to apply it also in my business relations, even real life decisions. um, so once I see that something goes wrong, um, I try to fix it as soon as possible. I don't want to keep keep it waiting. So I don't think that there's something. I mean, once I saw something that it became a problem, very soon I acted. So I don't have regrets or.
I know it's a tough question to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot as well. What would you have done differently, if anything?
Well, I think things went the right way so far. The only thing, well, let's say, which might have been, uh, better treated would be, and I know it from my own experience, that entrepreneurs tend to do things just because they need to do things, So, but sometimes they do things that are not needed or not necessary. And I think sometimes, as an investor, I should have been more careful into, watching these kind of things.
Will you guys work together in the future?
Well, we have to.
Yeah, we got the ring.
Tell me more. How
Well, first of all, I mean, we're looking forward. I think I really admire angel investors. At this stage, I think there's a big risk that they take. Happily for us, we advanced. We had a really nice growth. We had also we went through difficult times, but we managed to pass them and to solve those problems. And right now we're looking forward for new for VC investment and to grow the company as much as possible. And I keep getting help by the presence of Malin in the company, so he's a good addition not only in terms of finance. And of course, I mean, we are very young. It's great industry, and we're looking forward for more startups. But first, I mean,
you're not done, right? You obviously have the next round.
He still wants me in the board.
That's good. That's a good sign, right? You're still dating, or you're past dating, but you're still happily married for now.
yeah.
Well, only 1 year has passed, so half a year and a half.
Yeah, usually they say the marriage 3 years if you pass the 3 years now.
What do you think the challenges of being a Romanian company and the Romanian infrastructure, or the lack of infrastructure, has, how has it impacted your business?
The previous speaker said something really smart, especially for consumer B2C products. They need more investment, and there is a lack. Indeed, there is a lack of investment in the idea of investor that would be willing to put in the companies on a few thousand €. So there was a big gap. Now this gap starts to disappear. Still, it's a small market. There aren't so many people that you can. There aren't so many investors. There aren't so many good and promising entrepreneur startups. So that's the offer and the demand. It's not always doesn't always meet where it should be. But on the other hand, I always see usually, instead of complaining that, hey, we're from Romania, we're like God forgot us. I also look on the advantages of being here and being here located and even educated here.
And can you talk a little bit about what some of the advantages of operating a startup here are?
First of all, were we we were raised in a society that is much focused on solving things. So we're more like, I mean, we do have an entrepreneur mindset. Um, as everybody's saying, there's a good tech culture, and um, I don't know.
What are some of the, what would you like to see in the investment community to either support you or syndications? Where do you see opportunities in the investment community to make it better?
Well, already we can see the ecosystem is growing in this respect too. So we have first deal officially announced with 4 angels going together for an investment. There will be some, the other one I was talking about now. So there are 2 groups of angels happening, official developed groups of angels. So things are moving in the right direction.
So when you have questions about being an angel, who do you talk to? Do you have anyone that you can bounce ideas off of, or or you on
Go
your
to
own?
VC companies.
Okay, great. Any other closing thoughts before we open it up for questions about the relationship, about Romania, anything like that? Otherwise, we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah. Another advantage of being here in Romania is the fact that it's easier for you to contact and speak with people that have this experience.
Everybody know who the players are.
Yes, yes.
Open up the questions. Great. Questions from the audience? We're giving you a break after this, so hang in there. We're almost there. All right.
Hi. I know Malin, so I'm not going to make it easier on them. So anyway, 7 months seems rather long for me before the initial meeting. And probably they decided quite soon that they like the product. What made it so long before you actually signed? Is it something in relation with paperwork or maybe overhead given by our culture, or what's the reason it took so long?
First of all, after the initial meeting, we had several follow-up meetings where we actually understood or tried to understood each other. And once we have decided somehow that we are going further, we started to discuss term sheet. Then we had the lawyers. And basically,
Who he is going to blame here in a minute, but go ahead.
lawyers.
I mean, Malin is joking, but it's very important, and that's I saw many investors doing this. Now you come up with a story to the investor, say, "Hey, we're shitty now." I mean, but compared to the amount, to the value of the company that would like that we're selling it. So, but we do believe that the company will grow a lot, so that you invest now. In 1, 2, or 3 years, your share will be much more valuable. And this is a very nice story that you believe, and in most of the cases, not true, because most of the startups fail. And one thing that you can as an investor, this is what I would do. One thing that you can minimize that risk is to get feedback on how that company is performing. I mean, you said that that we're gonna grow at this stage. Okay, let's meet in 1 month. Let's see what you guys have done. And this happens in a few. Like it takes a period of time until it's clear that this company is growing. And basically, I think this is one important thing that an investor looks for, and it's very important to know those things, to know that it's going to take time, and if you force it to happen much faster, you might start in terms of a relation. You might start on the wrong foot with that relationship. Maybe realize that the guy or you don't trust him enough. You might realize that I don't know, the papers are done. Do you have problems in the papers, and this is something that is harder to fix later. So it's an equilibrium between also going, I don't know, because at the same time your company might be losing money and it really needs your investment. So that's a tough moment for you usually.
The good news is it can be worth. I mean, there are startups you talk with for more than 2 years.
Any other questions? Great. Let's thank George and Malin for their time and for sharing. And I know we asked you a couple awkward questions, but again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.